Hello friends, it's Mirisha here and I'm so excited to share today's card tutorial with you, created exclusively for Scrapbook and Cards Today. I'll be walking you through a bright and beachy scene that's full of ink blending, die cutting, and sunshine vibes, perfect for summer card making. So let's get started. To begin, I'll be using Spellbinder's masking paper to help build a layered scene. I first used a circle die to die cut the center of the masking paper. This will help me perfectly place the sun. I will also trim a second strip of masking paper to shape the ocean line. Let's talk about why I chose masking paper instead of a stencil for this project. Masking paper gives you total flexibility. You can cut it into any shape or size you need, whether it's to create a custom sun, a horizon line, or even mountain silhouettes. Unlike a pre-cut stencil that's fixed, masking paper moves with your imagination. It's perfect for creating one-of-a-kind scenes that is organic, original, and completely your own. For the background, I'm using 4 beautiful Distress Oxide inks. For the sky, Tumbled Glass, Mustard Seed for the sun, Salty Ocean for the water, and Tea Dye for the sandy shore. But feel free to use any color combination of your choice. Now it's time to create our beach scene. So first I positioned the circle die cut in the center of the panel. I then used a blending brush from scrapbook.com to softly blend tumbled glass across the top of the panel to create the sky, close to the center of the panel. I will now position the next 2 pieces of masking paper on my panel. The masking paper that I'll use to create the sun and the line for the horizon. Another benefit for using masking paper is that it lays flush against your paper, which helps prevent ink bleeding underneath, especially when working with soft gradients or layering multiple areas like I'm doing here. Once I'm done ink blending mustard seed to create the sun, I will then remove the masking paper and look, you can slowly start to see this scene come to life. I will then bring back in the blending brush that has tumbled glass and I'll begin to apply the oxide closer to the sun. Once I'm done, I will reposition the strip of masking paper. Then from there, I'll bring in Salty Ocean and begin applying the oxide to the panel to create the ocean. While I'm applying this oxide, I will allow the brush to lightly pick up some of that mustard seed that's on the line of the masking sheet, allowing it to slightly blend with Salty Ocean to give it a feel of a reflection of the sun, as you see right there on the water. And finally, I will use my blending brush to apply tea dye at the bottom of the panel, careful to not get too close to the edge of the water. And just like that, friends, we have created a beach scene for our card project. Look at how gorgeous that is. And here's a tip for you to add texture to the sand. You can feel free to add little spritz of water and lift it with a paper towel. Now that the background is done, I used an oval die to die cut the entire blended scene, but you can feel free to use any shape die of your choosing. To give this card project some texture and interest, I die cut the mosaic panel from scrapbook.com's mosaic cover plate die, and I'll layer this directly onto the card base. The cardstock that I use to die cut the panel is Nina Classic Solar White. For the card base, I also used Nina Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. I cut it down to a top folding A2 size that's 4¼ by 5½ inches. Once I'm done adhering the panel to the card base, I will then bring in the beach scene panel and begin building the layers. I decided to frame this beach scene, so I brought in 2 different sized oval dies and I laid them on the beach scene just to get an idea of how thick I want the frame to be. I then moved the dies over to a piece of white cardstock. Once I positioned them, I used a piece of mint tape to secure them in place. I then die cut the oval frame and then used liquid adhesive to adhere it to the panel. In addition to the frame, I decided to mat the panel, so I cut a piece of gold cardstock using a larger oval die and I adhered the panel to the mat. Then from there, I'm taking my entire panel over to my Misty and I brought in this new stamp set from scrapbook.com. This is the Summer Celebration. This includes gorgeous summer sentiments that state hello summer, happy birthday, wishing you sunny days. I then went back and forth between the sentiment. I couldn't decide which one I wanted to use. It happens all of the time. Once I decided, I then positioned the Wish You Were Here sentiment stamp on the panel. I then inked it up using jet black ink from Lawn Fawn, and I stamped it twice just to make sure I had a good, crisp impression. Now that we're done, it's time for the next step. Now for the fun finishing touches. I used the beach die set from scrapbook.com to cut out a palm tree and a cozy beach chair. This die set is adorable and it's filled with so many dies that you can use to create your summer theme projects. The great thing about this die set is once you flip it over, it shows what the final product will look like once you assemble your dies. Perfect to use as a guide. In addition to the Nina Classic Solar White cardstock, I used Concord and Ninths, parsley, nutmeg, gold, dragon fruit, sunflower, and black to create the other elements needed to create this card project, including the palm tree and the beach chair. Once all of the elements were cut and ready, it is time to finish bringing this scene to life. I then position the palm tree and the chair on the scene, tucking them slightly into the sand for a grounded look. Once I'm happy with the placement, I will then use liquid adhesive to adhere the elements to the card front. Here is another fun tip. Use a fine tip glue pen for precision when adhering thin elements like the chair legs or palm trunks to your card projects. I also decided to, just for a little extra dimension, to add a piece of foam tape to the back of the beach chair. And there we have it, friends, a bright and breezy beach scene card built with layers of ink and a few special die cut touches. I hope this project inspired you to try blending your own scenic backgrounds and playing with texture and frames to add extra dimension. If you enjoyed this tutorial, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Scrapbook and Cards today, and hit that bell so you never miss a crafty moment. Thanks so much for spending a little time creating with me today. Until next time, please take care.